Welcome, friends, to I'm a Cotdang force of nature. I feel like I could do just about anything. For this mission, we're going to be in this abandoned, overgrown park that has been infested by werewolves. Since we are not merchants, our goal here is to drag one of these werewolves off of the table. I did outfit myself accordingly for the mission. I didn't buy any silver ammo because it's just way too expensive, but I did purchase a silver stone hammer. So a silver hammer for Bobby. We got 7 turns to get the job done. We're starting with an awakened werewolf, which is the very large one, and a savage werewolf, which is the smaller one. Here's a closer shot of them, just to make sure we know which one is which. It is currently a clear and beautiful evening for hunting werewolves. So no penalties to anybody or to anything. However, that is always subject to change, which we can talk about when we get to it at the end of the round. Anyways, I'm gonna go with Bobby first. And then Bobby will move again as a second action. Cass will come next. See, the problem here is that it's not a free attack. When you get into base to base, you still need an action to swing with. So while I could get to them on a double move, I wouldn't be able to do anything. So we're just going to perform a single move and call that his action for the turn. Just up to beside Bobby, so that when those werewolves come, they will be fighting together, which will negate the normal -3 penalty that you have in close combat on a crackback. Quick intervention or intermission from the gameplay, because I forgot to do something during setup. I forgot to place lootable corpses, so I've got 3 of them that I was supposed to place. We got one over here near the dumpster and the pavilion, one up on the path, and then one way back near the swing set and the monkey bars. So if I can get to them, I can potentially loot them. We'll see how that goes, but it is important that they're placed on the table because the scenario says so. Back to business, we're going to have Ellen make a double move. When you're choosing your actions, you automatically get a move. That has to happen first. Once you start doing other stuff, you can't take it. As your second action, you have the option to move. It could also be to interact. I play that you can swap weapons with an action for that second one. Sam and Dean, I'm just going to have move for a little bit of position. I'm going to do them both at the same time. They're not going to take any shots because the werewolves heal at the beginning of the monster phase. So I just want to shuffle them around a little bit, just to the end of the bridge. And then they're going to chill. I want to keep Cass and Bobby as the closest enemies because that's who I want to draw the werewolves towards. They're both the bait and the trap. Next up, werewolves. We're going to start with the savage werewolf because he's closer to a target. They get to move 2d6 if they can see something that is not the same as them. 9 inches is definitely going to get him into me. Base target is a 12. Now, when you swing at someone, they get to swing back at you simultaneously. So I'm going to roll both of these d20s together. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Bobby would normally have a -3 on the crackback in this exchange. But because Cass, a friendly model, is within an inch of that enemy, the savage werewolf, that -3 is negated. So I get to crack back at full power. Monsters always hit on a 12, unless there's a modifier. And I'm now discovering that a lot of them can be affected by the environmental ones. Anyways, normally that's not modified. So when they crack back, they still crack back on 12s. So I will have my roll plus my strength stat for the silver hammer. And I need a 12 or better, as does the werewolf. So he's going to crit fail. I, however, am going to hit. Once again, I'm going to hit because 11 plus my strength of 4 makes that roll a 15, which is more than a 12 and is therefore a hit. Following that hit roll, you would roll whatever damage dice the weapon has. A d10 in this case. However, we have these 6 handy-dandy cards that we can use. One of which says you can deal maximum damage with an attack. I'm going to use that one right now because that lycanthrope, if I'm not mistaken, has 10 health. And because I have a silvered weapon, that will just outright kill him, making a dead werewolf. Again, the goal of the mission is to drag those werewolf bodies off of the board. When you drag one off the board, however, an awakened werewolf will spawn on a random board edge. So I'm going to be a little bit cheeky with my game plan. But before any plan of mine can potentially come to fruition, this awakened werewolf is going to get to go. So he's going to be doing the same thing. He got an 11 on his movement, so he's going to be charging into Bobby. Werewolf will miss on a 9. I will hit on a 13 plus 4, 17 for D10 silvered damage. 10. Let's go! The awakened werewolf, however, as implied by the massive size of his Krynos form compared to the savage werewolf, is a bit beefier. So that 10 damage, while a sizable chunk from his health, is not enough to kill him. He has a total of 16 HP. However, because that last damage was from silver, as long as I hit him with silver in a turn, he stays down. So now we got to check and see what happens with the weather. So this roll is on a 15 plus 3. Excellent. The evening remains clear, and other than our kerfuffle over here, mostly peaceful. So we might as well start off with the fun stuff. So let's get into this this beating that we're about to give this awakened werewolf. Gonna swing with Cass because I want Bobby to potentially drag him down. That's going to be a definite miss on the crackback and a definite hit on the silvered cane, which is a D6, if I'm not mistaken. It is a D8. That cane be whipping. Should have took the cane in Bloodborne if I'd have known it hit that hard. 3 damage only. That's okay. Bobby can probably finish him off. On a side note, the werewolves do have armor. They have armor 2. However, the silvered weapons ignore the armor value for both lycanthropes and vampire. And we're going to go ahead, let Bobby take that crack at the awakened werewolf. So you know the good thing about those cards I showed you a little bit ago is that you can use those after you roll dice. So I'm going to use mine to automatically pass this combat test. So a D10 worth of silver damage coming at his face. 8. That's going to lay him down. Nice and easy. We're going to put him on a t-shirt. Sam is going to make a double move towards the objective back at the swing set. Dean is going to move towards the nearest of the 2 corpses. He and Bobby are the only 2 that are strong enough to drag these things off the board. So he's going to go ahead and get himself into position. And Ellen is going to dig through the eviscerated remains that were found over near the dumpsters to see if she can find any goodies. Looting is one of the few times in the game that the target number is not a 12. It might be the only time in the game. Target number is 10, and it's a presence check. So we roll our d20. And we add our 3, but That's a crit. So I feel like on a crit for a loot roll, I should get to pick whatever I want. However, I don't. I have to roll on a chart. Is a D20. 10. This is another Butcher's Cleaver. Womp womp. There are no monsters, so we'll check the weather. 17 will get us a change of weather. Streetlights fail, and we must apply the darkness condition, which at this point there's no monsters on the table, and the way that I'm going to play it, there aren't going to be any monsters on the table. For the rest, we go to turn 3. Cass is going to move to that corpse as like the worst presence, but we're going to give it a go. 0. Fail. Sam is also going to check his corpse. Also a fail. I'm going to use a card here. I can reroll any dice, mine or someone else's. 7, 8, 9, 10 with his +3 presence will get me where I need to be. Roll on the chart. 9. 9 is a stake. I'm going to use my blessing to reroll once on the loot table. 20 is roll twice, take both of them. So we get a 16 and a 17. Dean and Bobby are both going to drag bodies. No weather changes, so everybody's just going to keep moving to this southern edge. The goal is to have Dean and Sam, or Dean and Bobby, be the last 2 off the board. Everybody just floods back to the car. Check the weather. No change. We're going to bring our 3 that don't have werewolves back to the car. We're going to have Dean drag his werewolf off. Awakened werewolf comes in on that eastern board edge, at which time Bobby will drag his corpse back to the car. Which, we're just going to leave that other corpse behind, whatever. And that'll do it for today. We cleared the park. Let's go get paid. So we're going to get 10 from guild, 10 from the donations of our HQ. We're going to get 35 for dragging a werewolf corpse. Now, the verbiage there is a werewolf corpse, so I don't think that you would get it for each werewolf corpse. You would just get it one time, which is fine. We'll just donate the other one to our good friends to curry some good favor. So we're going to get 20 off of guild and HQ together, 35 for dragging a werewolf off, putting us to 55, and then another 5 for killing a werewolf. Again, the use of the word a, not each or per. And I could be wrong there. That's just how I'm interpreting it. If you think something different, let's talk about it cordially in the comments. Crew will gain 5 XP total. We're going to use that 5 XP to give Dean +1 toughness to take him to -1 toughness instead of -2. Our random event, which is a D66 roll, was a 32, which is Weatherman. I get to pick the starting weather conditions for the next game. It's probably going to be clear skies, because I got some people that are scared of the dark, scared of the full moon, scared of all kinds of random, nonsensical things. And since that mission paid pretty well, I'm going to buy another upgrade for my HQ. I'm going to get the Soothsayer, which allows me to roll twice when determining the random event and choose whichever one I like better. And I like that. Well, I love random events, but I like having a little bit of control if I'm allowed, especially if I got to pay for it. But that, my friends, is going to do it for today. Thanks so much for tuning in and hanging out while I play the game of Dread Knights. I hope you have an absolutely amazing rest of your day.